Okay. Hey everyone, how you guys doing? Okay. Hello guys, how you guys doing? I hope everyone's having a great day today. Hey everyone. Yeah, I know I started kind of late today, but I've been very busy. I'm good, how are you, man? Thoughts on Office of Strategic Services? You mean the, precursor to the CIA. That's what OSS was during World War II. OSS actually did a lot of really good work during World War II. And Carl in Sniper Elite is actually an OSS agent. You got suspended for using bad language? Oh, I don't know what kind of language you used, or if you were joking around or talking to friends. Uh, but yeah, I will just say is you have to watch what you're saying online, because even if you're you're not being serious, you're just maybe dropping a few F-bombs, joking around with your friends. There are bot systems in games that can pick that up. I remember I got a warning once on Call of Duty DMZ, and it's the only warning I've ever had on a game. Basically, what happened was when I was on DMZ, we were trying to go to Koshi Complex, and we were trying to go like to that place like right where like that those ruins are, like those ancient ruins. And when we were there was like another team. There was like a 3-man team. We were a 3-man team. 2 of our guys died. 2 of their guys died. I was one of the people who died, and my teammate was the last guy left. And then there was one guy on that team, and we didn't even want to loot them. We just wanted to go to Koshi Complex. And I said to him, I'm like, let my teammate get us up. We will leave. We'll go to Koshi Complex to extract, and then you can get your people up. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And then what ends up happening is my teammate gets shot while he's reviving us. And I got really pissed that the guy, like, lied about that whole thing just so he could get a cheap kill on my teammate and swipe us and take our stuff. And I basically called the guy a piece of shit. Excuse my language. It's basically what I said. I got annoyed that the guy played like that. Like, if you want to, like, if you want to, like, fight, then you fight. You say, no, we finished this, 1v1 right now. Don't lie and say, okay, I'll let you get your teammates up, and then just start shooting, because that's just honestly so cheap. And that's honestly what a coward does. And I called him that. I called him a piece of crap, and he reported me. And what ended up happening is the next time I logged into DMZ, I had like this warning telling me that, like, if I curse again or use foul language, that I'm going to be suspended from the game. So that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say about it, is that imagine that. It's like somebody was toxic to me on the game, and I called them a piece of crap, and they reported me for foul language, and I got a warning. Imagine that. So it's like, Hi, Pro. I thought communists were about making everyone equal. Communists are about making everyone equally poor. That's what they're about. Have you ever played the game Gun on PS2? No, I haven't, but I know the game you're talking about. It's like a Wild West game. Yes, I know. I know that one. You got microphone banned on multiplayer for what? Nice outfit. Thank you. No, I don't think I've heard of that one, Gunner. Getting pissed over a video game with a coward? Well, it's, I got pissed at the guy because the guy said that he would let my teammate get us up. And he didn't. He just killed us and he took all our stuff. And we were like, we had like streaks going. Like, we had a 4 or 5 extraction streak. So I got a bit annoyed on that. Yes, I did see the Dr. Disrespect situation. It's disturbing. Not to get political, but did you watch the debate yesterday? Yes, I did. But I'm not going to comment anything on that, because I just stay away from politics. What? I can't move. Great, when I got up, I couldn't move. Pro him, not you. Oh, okay, Whelan. Okay. No, don't worry about it. You know, there's actually this military game that I'm actually looking forward to coming out. It's gonna be free to play. It's called actually Delta Force, and it's made by the same people who made DMZ. And so I'm actually looking forward to that game. Out of all Ace Attorney killers, which one is the hardest to cross-examine? Well, I mean, don't spoil anything in Spirit of Justice, because I haven't played that one. But out of all the games I've played, the hardest killer to cross-examine... I have to think about that one. Maybe McGilded in Ace Attorney Chronicles. McGilded, maybe. Because McGilded... is when I remember when I was doing that case, I thought that he was innocent. I thought that he didn't do it, and then like halfway through the case, I was like, wait, could he have actually done it? So if you remember McGilded in Ace Attorney Chronicles, I think he might have been the hardest to cross-examine. Resident Online? What game is that? Wait, you mean Resident Evil Online?
What the hell again?
Do you know when the lore video is coming out? Probably sometime next week, because this update basically pushed the lore video back. If this update never came out, the lore video would have been out last weekend. Yeah, McGill did end up acquitted, but he didn't, he did end up paying for it in the end, though. Zach, I will probably add you, later tonight or tomorrow. I'm just not on Xbox a lot of times. I might actually add you on Sunday, because that Sunday, I will be on Xbox. I'll be doing the Saints Row 2 stream. We're going to be doing a charity stream this Sunday, by the way, guys. It'll be a nice charity stream. I just don't know what charity I'm going to do yet, but don't worry, I will pick something good. I will pick something good and reliable. I think I might do St. Jude's, because that's the most popular one. That's always the one that people like the most. So I might do St. Jude's, but I'll just see. I'll look through the charities, see if I can find something good. No, I haven't heard of them, Gunner. Does anybody know, does Saints Row 2 Online still work on Xbox? Does anybody know the answer to that? Does the co-op still work? Phelps, badge 1247. How can I help, detective? Thank you, Westa.
Oh, you've made a big mistake.
Hey man, I just want to tell you that I admire the content you display. Thank you. Thank you, only Echad. Operator, give me R&I. The charity stream is on Sunday, yes. What's currently winning? I think it's Saints Row 2. Let me check. Let's check. While he's driving here, I'm just gonna check this. Let's see. Right here, right now. What game won the poll? Saints Row 2. So it looks Saints Row 2 is what we will be streaming for the charity stream. Saints Row 2 won the poll. And Saints Row 2 literally got 2.5 times more votes than the GTA Online. So that actually does make me happy also, because it shows that I've successfully moved my channel onto other games. The fact that another game besides GTA Online got voted as the #1 game people wanted me to stream, that does make me really happy, because it shows that I've succeeded in expanding my channel into other games too. I might do a Saints Row 2 lore video when I'm done with the GTA 5 lore video that I'm doing, because whenever I did do a Saints Row 2 lore video, they were very popular. People really like those. So I might do like an analysis on the other gangs.
Just think, their soul is downstairs heating up already.
I think the costume was also a big part of it too, Aaron. Pro, Conor McGregor is the new elusive Hitman target. I know that, yeah. For people wondering, Conor McGregor is the new target in Hitman DLC. So the new Hitman DLC, it's Conor McGregor. It's they're just bringing in celebrities too. I don't think that's actually him that voices him. Like, it is his face, but I don't think it's actually him that voices himself in the DLC. I've literally made millions from you guys. Thanks, bro. No problem, man. Yeah, well, thank you for the super chat. Not to get too much into politics, not to get too much into politics, Mario, but the media kept, like, saying for years, age is not a factor, you know, he's perfectly mentally fit, he's fine to be president, and now you see this. Honestly, I don't know, like, why we can't get other people. Like, we just have such old people that are just running. Like, why can't we get younger people and, like, somebody new to politics to, like, run? Like, an outsider. So that's just, it's like, you know, both parties just, you know, suck with that. Thank you, Mario, for the super chat. Conor McGregor's fight got canceled. Why? What do you think the December DLC will be? I think December DLC is going to be the final DLC. I think December DLC is going to be big. Like, I don't think we're talking like Cayo Perico big, but I think it might be like contract size big. That's how big the DLC might be. Because if it's going to be the final DLC, Rockstar are going to want to go out for bang. Make sure you remember that. Let's go, baby. I just made my first digital purchase on my PS4 and got Fallout 4 Game of the Year. I'm so excited. You have no idea. Also, is it a good idea to not vote if you don't know who is running for what? You know, that's also an option, but I will say, I will say is that when the way I've always looked at it is when people go vote, make sure you vote the way you want to vote. Don't be pressured by it, whether it's, you know, Republican or Democrat. However you want to vote, vote the way you personally want to vote. Don't let, the media, don't let, your peers pressure you. You do what you want to do. You vote how you want to do. Don't let other people tell you how to vote. That's what I'll say about that. I think I've mistaken someone else for your PS. Yeah, because DL Gaming, I didn't, I checked my messages the other day. I didn't get anything from you. Like, I was looking through it. I didn't get anything. I think you might have messaged me the other day, actually, or today, was it? Because I think I did get a message from you, but I had, like, a bunch of notifications from people, but I didn't check. But can you just tell me what your PSN is, DL Gaming, just so I can make sure? Can you type out your full name to me, DL Gaming? You don't have to super chat it again. Can you tell me your full PSN name? Stop ducking, what is it, about Jaruzelski. Jaruzelski, he was the final communist dictator of Poland. Jaruzelski was a, here's the thing is, to me, it generally surprises me that Jaruzelski, that he was a communist dictator of Poland. The reason it surprises me is because if you look at Jaruzelski's past, Jaruzelski, he actually grew up in a gulag. So him and his family were actually deported to a work camp in Siberia by Stalin. And you would think that somebody like that, after experiencing such hardships like that, would not be a communist, but he was a communist. So that's what I don't get about Jaruzelski, is he experienced, like, massive, hardships, and he was ill-treated when he was a child, and yet he still was a communist when he was later in life. Do you have dual citizenship? I do, of Poland. Yes. Yes, it's DL Gaming 2002. Okay, let me just screenshot this here. DL Gaming 2002. Okay, DL Gaming, I will message you tonight after the stream, okay? Because I just can't message right now. Was he like a hardline communist, or was he a reformer? Jaruzelski did try to make some economic changes in Poland. That is true, he did. But the worst thing he did is the martial law. That was really the worst thing that he did, was the martial law. That was just, completely uncalled for. A lot of innocent people died. A lot of innocent people got arrested. So he did try some changes, but it was just, the martial law is really what, he is a very hated leader in Poland today, like, very hated, is Jaruzelski. If he never instituted martial law, he probably would have been seen like Gorbachev, maybe, more like in Poland today, but because the martial law, people hate him so much for that. There was a controversy, I remember, like, a number of years ago when Jaruzelski was still alive, where the Polish president gave him, like, a medal, and he, then he apologized over it. It was like a, massive scandal. Well, Jaruzelski is actually in Black Ops Cold War. I don't know if you know that, Gunner. He doesn't appear physically in the game, but in the cutscenes. Like, if you watch the cinematics, you'll see him in the background, which is with the glasses. He's that, Polish dictator that just wore the big glasses all the time. So, he actually does appear in a cutscene in Cold War. I don't know if you know that. He doesn't say anything or anything. He's only on the screen for maybe like 5 seconds, but he's there. The upcoming Call of Duty does look good, yes. I will admit to that. I hope they don't mess it up. Who do you think was the worst Polish leader in history? I I would say Augustus, probably the final king of Poland. Yeah, the final king of Poland. Yeah, Augustus. I would say. Yeah, he's probably the worst leader in Polish history because he sold out his country to foreign powers. Basically, there were basically what was happening was there was a constitution that was being passed in Poland, and this constitution was going to give peasants greater rights. They were going to be treated more equally under the law. It was going to reduce aristocratic privileges, reduce privileges of the monarchy, and give peasants more rights. Now Augustus really hated that constitution coming in, and so what Augustus did was he went to the Tsar and he told the Tsar, "Can you invade Poland and put down this rebellion so I can stay in power?" And the Tsar basically said, "Okay, I'll do that." And then he invades Poland to basically, put down the peasants who are passing like the new constitution. And then at the same time, is the Tsar doesn't give power back to Augustus, and he basically says, "You know what? I'm keeping this now. I'm keeping Poland." And then what ends up happening is the remaining parts of Poland that didn't get conquered start going to Prussia for help, because Prussia, which was the largest German state, they had an alliance with Poland, and it was that if Poland or Prussia gets attacked, that both of them are supposed to come to each other's defense. And then what Prussia did was they didn't come to Poland's defense. They just invaded, Western Poland, and they conquered that and annexed that. So they betrayed Poland. So literally, Poland got screwed over so badly in that time period. So I think a king that sells your country out to foreign invaders, I think, is probably the worst kind of leader that you can possibly have. Wouldn't the guy installed as governor of Poland by Hitler be the worst? There was no Polish governor of Poland during World War II. The Nazis ruled it directly. So he was asking me directly for a Polish leader. If it's like a Nazi leader that's in control of Poland, it's not a Polish leader. That's a German leader. So Poland was not like a lot of other conquered Nazi territories. A lot of other conquered Nazi territories, they put in like puppets from those countries to rule. In Poland, it was called the general government. That's what the land was called by the Nazis, and it was controlled by the Nazis directly. There was no Polish puppet government. It was directly all Germans that were controlling it. They did have some Polish collaborators. They had they had the blue police, which the blue police were basically like Polish collaborators that would enforce Nazi law on the street. But they didn't really have a direct Polish puppet government that was in occupied Poland. The Soviets created a puppet Polish government, but the Nazis ruled it directly. Why do you think the Soviets got defeated so badly in the Battle of Warsaw, since they won pretty much every battle before that? You want to know something, something about the Soviets that I'll tell you. The first Soviet army that was ever created in history was the most incompetent military ever in history. That's what I would say about that. The very first Red Army. And the very first Soviet army, I don't think that it was called the Red Army. I don't think that's what it was called when it was formed. I think it was actually called the Workers' and Peasants' Army, and then it was later named to the Red Army. But about the first Soviet army, the Soviets were so much into communism that they didn't even believe in military ranks. They didn't believe in a hierarchy in the military. They thought that everybody should be equal in the military, and they thought that people should elect their military commander. So in the first Soviet military, the military commanders were elected by their soldiers. That's basically how it worked. It wasn't based on skill or talent. They were actually elected by their soldiers. And so they didn't have a general ranking system. They didn't have sergeant, lieutenant, and basically it was all the soldiers were just one rank, and then you had the commissars, who were just basically the communist propaganda officers, and they would just lead a giant mob of soldiers, and they would just throw them all at the enemy and just try to overrun them. That was basically the Soviet strategy in the Polish-Soviet War, and it backfired really badly for them. Did you always want to be a full-time content creator? I always did. you know, ever since I was a kid. I mean, who doesn't really want to be a YouTuber when they grow up? But the thing is, though, is I never expected it to happen. It just happened over time. The channel grew, and I got, you know, very lucky. It was also a lot of luck involved in it. It wasn't just, you know, hard work. I was also lucky. I was also blessed that I gotten to where I am. A lot of YouTubers won't admit that. They'll just say it was all skill, but there is luck involved in it because your channel gets recommended to people. Your algorithm helps your channel out. Worst U.S. president in history. Oh, that one's easy. The worst U.S. president. The worst U.S. president in history. Let me just look up the guy's name because I always forget the guy's name. James Buchanan. Okay, I always forget his name. James Buchanan is the worst, you know, president in American history because about James Buchanan, James Buchanan was the president right before Abraham Lincoln, and he basically did nothing to stop the southern states from seceding. So, like, right when he was president, the secession hadn't happened directly yet. But what happened was the southern states were building up an army, even though they were still part of the Union. They were, like, stockpiling tons of weapons. They're pretty much getting ready to secede. He wasn't doing anything about that. He didn't try to diffuse the tensions. He didn't try to stop it at all. And, in fact, what he did was he actually blamed the North. So he blamed the northern states for being aggressive. And then what ends up happening is when Lincoln takes power, when Lincoln gets elected, in the southern states, what a lot of people don't know is that when Lincoln was getting elected, the southern states actually took Lincoln off the ballot. So Lincoln was not allowed to be on the ballot in the southern states. But despite not being allowed to be on the ballot in the southern states, he still won the election. And at that point, the southern states just seceded. They seceded. They formed a confederacy, and Lincoln basically inherited Buchanan's problem. So basically, that was not Lincoln's fault. Everything that happened, that was all Buchanan, because Buchanan could have prevented that, and he could have stopped it. And Lincoln basically inherited a giant mess from him. So I think personally, a president that allows your country to fall to civil war, and a president that, you know, does absolutely nothing about that, I think is probably the worst president in history. A president that basically allows his country to fall apart, I think I would say is the worst president. And it also, Buchanan didn't, when Lincoln was taken off the ballot in the southern states, Buchanan did nothing to stop that. He did nothing to prevent that from happening. He should have enforced a law in those states. You can't take a candidate off a ballot, but that's basically what they did. Woodrow Wilson, Buchanan is probably the worst American president of all time, but Woodrow Wilson is probably the worst American president in the, I would say in the 20th century, Woodrow Wilson is probably the worst president in the 20th century. Yes, Woodrow Wilson. People still play this game. Yes, people still play this game. People still enjoy it. In the Soviet campaign, A Company of Heroes 2, there was a scene where the commissar orders a machine gunner to gun down a bunch of retreating conscripts. It was controversial in Russia. Well, it's going to be because people deny their history a lot of times. People deny the bad things that happens in their countries. They don't like talking about it. They deny a lot of the bad things that happen. So yeah, I'm honestly not surprised that and here's the thing about this. Has anybody here ever watched like a Russian World War II movie? Like, I've watched Russian World War II movies, and I will tell you, the vast majority of Russian World War II movies are garbage. That's literally what I will tell you about them. Because in the vast majority of Russian World War II movies, and those, have you ever watched those like cheesy Russian TV shows, like those World War II TV shows? Like, they're so bad because it's like one Soviet soldier manages to kill like 100 Germans in like one episode. Like every single episode, it's like the Soviets are just this most elite fighting force. They never lose any men, and the Germans are just so stupid and incompetent. I'm not defending the Germans, but I'm just saying is they conquered a huge part of Russia. They weren't as stupid and incompetent as a lot of these Russian TV shows and movies portray them to be. So that's So, like, if you watch those Russian, like, World War II TV shows, it's literally, like, one Russian soldier killing, like, 100 Germans, like, every single episode. It makes no sense. It's so dumb. I will say this, though, there was one Russian, World War II movie that I really liked. My favorite Russian World War II movie is that Soviet movie. It's called Come and See. I think that one is like probably the best Russian World War II movie. That one actually like shows the horrors of war. It's not all just like heroic like a lot of the other movies are showing. So that one I think was the best World War II Russian movie. And the best Russian World War II TV show is Karny Battalion. If anybody's ever watched Karny Battalion, I watched that when I was a kid. I watched like every single episode with subtitles. That was one of the few like historically accurate like World War II TV shows in Russia, because it actually showed how like what the Soviet army was like during World War II. The casualties, the gunning down their own men for retreating, the gulags. There was like Karny Battalion was a pretty good show. Thank you, King of Killing, for the super chat. That's so interesting how you mentioned past 21st century presidents as the worst, when nowadays people focus on the ones from late 1900s onwards. I definitely think there's presidents in the 21st century that are really bad, but I don't say anything about that because I don't talk modern politics and stuff like that. Like, I'll bring up presidents in the past, like from 100 years ago, but I'm not gonna bring up presidents within like usually the last 30 years. I'm not gonna bring them up. Thanks for being friends with me on PlayStation. No problem, dude. No, not yet, Mr. Nowhere. I haven't gotten to it because of this update, but I'm about to finish Call of Duty World War II. It only has 2 parts left. When I finish some of these playthroughs, I promise I will finish it and I'll talk to you about it. But I have 2 episodes left. I just had an endless amounts of projects to do. I think we should have a movie that depicts the Warsaw Uprising to honor the fallen Polish people that fought to kick out the Nazis. There actually is a movie. I think it's called Uprising in Polish, but there is a Polish World War II movie about the Warsaw Uprising. There's actually one really brutal scene in the movie where the Germans are basically using a King Tiger tank through the streets of Warsaw to push towards the resistance headquarters, and what they're doing is right in front of the tank they have a bunch of Polish civilians, so they're like marching Polish civilians right in front of the German tank, and they're doing that on purpose just so that the Polish resistance doesn't fire at the tank, which is a war crime. They can't do something like that. They also did show that remote controlled German like bomb drone in World War II. And for people wondering, the Germans did have a bomb drone in World War II. It was a remote-controlled bomb drone that they actually had even back then. It didn't fly. It was on the ground. It was remote-controlled. It looked like a mini tank. It had like these little treads on it, and it would just drive up to a building and just blow it up. Like, it was a massive explosion. And that little mini like drone thing actually appears in the movie. I know that, and they shoot it before it gets to the building. Have you had a bad sunburn before? I haven't had a bad sunburn in some time, but I did get burnt like 2 weeks ago, not by sun, but I think I'm fine. It's like it quickly like I quickly took care of it, but basically 2 weeks ago, I was getting my rental property ready for like new tenants, and what happened was I saw some like weeds growing in the backyard, and I wanted to like kill the weeds, and so I took like I ordered like a fertilizer pesticide from like Amazon, where you connect it to the hose and you push down on the hose and you spray it, And I wore like a long sleeve shirt and I wore gloves to make sure that it doesn't get on me, but I didn't wear anything on my face. And what happened was there was like a lot of wind and some of that stuff got sprayed in my face. And I went home and my face actually burnt a little bit, but I washed my face in the shower for like an hour straight, and then afterwards I was fine. So that was, that just sucked. But next time, if I'm ever spraying any of that stuff next time, I'm going to put something on my face to basically prevent that from happening. But that was, that sucked. I don't really know mythology that well. Any videos today? Tonight, no. But tomorrow, I'm releasing that video where I talk about those greedy YouTubers. So I'm going to talk about greedy YouTubers, and I'm going to release the video tomorrow, so I think a lot of people will like it. What if the Central Powers won? You mean World War I? What if the Central Powers won? If the Central Powers won World War I, the exact same thing that happened during World War II would have happened, but the only difference is France and Britain would have gone fascist instead of Germany. So literally, that's, Literally, if Germany won World War I, they would have done the exact same thing that Britain and France did, but they would have done it to them. They would have bankrupted France and Britain if they won World War I. You heard YouTube is having community notes? Well, what do you mean by that? Pro, when did you become a landlord? Does it run in the family business? Maybe to an extent. My grandmother, when my grandmother came to this country, it was like in the 70s, you know, she worked really hard, she saved up a lot of money, and, you know, eventually she got a loan, and she got a, you know, the rental property. Rental property, she got, like, a small apartment building, and the small apartment building she got, it wasn't, like, anything fancy. It was, like, it was basically, like, if anybody's ever watched Spider-Man 2 and 3, the original ones, like, the place where Peter rents from, like, Mr. Ditkovich, like, that building is very similar. Like, it was, like, a building just like that. It was, like, in between two buildings. It was, like, a small apartment building and 4 units, and it was, like, the stairs are just so accurate. The stairs are so accurate in the building like that. The doors were a little different, but the stairs were very accurate. So, like, whenever I saw, like, Peter's apartment in, like, you know, Spider-Man 2 and 3 reminded me a lot of where I grew up. And so my parents and me lived in 1 unit, and we had, you know, 3 other units. There was 2 units above us and 1 unit below us. But what happened was my parents actually sold the apartment building, and they moved to Long Island. And the reason that they did that is because my parents were getting so sick of it. Because my parents had really bad, like, tenants, like, really, really bad tenants that would just trash the properties, and they would just not pay rent, and they would do, you know, dumb things, and New York City would not allow them to collect rent. And so my mom basically got so stressed out by that, she basically said she never wants to do this again. And so basically they sold the property in, like, 2007. And so, then it was, like, how much longer? In 2022, I purchased my first rental, so it was, like, 15 years later, I purchased my first rental. And my mom, I remember my mom was telling me, she's like, don't do it, don't purchase a rental, because it's like, she's like, you're gonna encounter, like, psycho, like, tenants, and they're gonna mess up your house, and stuff like that. And I said, I'm like, you know, that's New York. Like, you know, New York laws are just stupid in New York. Because in New York, when it's so hard to evict a tenant in New York. If they're doing, like, stupid crap in New York, it's really so hard to throw them out. But I was like, if you get, like, a good state that's, like, you know, pro-business and stuff like that, if you have somebody that's, like, you know, trashing the property, they're, you know, not paying rent, it's a lot the eviction process is a lot easier than, like, in a place like New York. So that's, I mean, like, if you want to know how stupid New York was, when it came to this law, basically, my neighbor, he never liked my family. He reported my family to the city, and he basically told the city that we have a bathtub that's in the basement. And, because we had, like, a unit that was downstairs where we were renting it to somebody, and the city inspector came. He basically showed himself inside. We couldn't stop him. He goes down to like the unit that's downstairs, and he's like, "Oh, there's a bathtub here in this unit downstairs. You can't have that." And then he basically gave my parents like a big fine. And apparently, like in New York City, like at that time, you're not allowed to have a bathtub in like the lower parts of your building. And I was like, "This is stupid." I was like who came up with this dumb law? But it was basically like they had to remove the entire bathtub. That was just the whole thing was just basically stupid. It was dumb. Had a situation where we had this one family who squatted on us. We dealt with squatters, and they basically sat in my parents' rental for 11 months. 11 months. They didn't pay rent. 11 months they sat in there. And what my parents were not able to collect rent from them. And the crazy thing is that when my parents were going to take them to court, the day before they were going to take them to court, they moved out. And so we never found out what happened to them. They ran away somewhere, and we got basically scammed out of 11 months of rent. And when we tried to collect it from New York City basically said we're responsible for that because we're the landlord. So because we had somebody squatting for 11 months, we were responsible for it. And so that's why my parents sold that rental property in New York City, because they couldn't take it anymore. They had just such bad tenants, and they couldn't deal with it anymore. They couldn't take it anymore, and they got rid of it. But I think that being a landlord is a great way to make passive income. I do believe it is. It's an easy business that really anybody can get into. The bad thing about being a landlord is it's really expensive, because you're gonna take a mortgage out, and then you're gonna be paying off the property. But once you pay off the property and it's all paid off, you have a property that's basically generating income for you. You have people living there, and for the most, if you buy like a new house, you're not really gonna have that many problems with a new house. You're not going to. So that's what I always like doing, is I like focusing on new houses, because there's not really going to be that many problems. When there's something that, you got to fix, you're going to go over there, you're going to get your handyman. But other than that, there's really no, you really don't need that much stuff there. And so, like, my tenants, for example, what was it? My tenants in, like, my other rental property, the house was built in 2012. Basically, they didn't contact me for 6 months because everything was perfectly fine with the house. And I contacted them after 6 months because I wanted to install a new sump pump, and I did that for them because, I had gotten a new sump pump installed at my other rental, and I was thinking I'll have a new sump pump installed here too. And so I told them, hey, I want to have a new sump pump installed in, like, the property, and, like, handyman's gonna come over, will you guys be available? And that's it. I didn't charge them for it or anything. I took care of that all on my own, because I felt to myself that if my other rental is getting a new sump pump, it's not fair to my other rental if they don't get a new sump pump also. So that's why I got them one too. Let me see here. Because it's the capital, Bad Gamer. That's why. They need it to manage the country after the war. You would not believe how much history I'm learning from about Poland from you. Who knew it had such a rich history? But alas, some people act like it doesn't matter anymore or care. I think a lot of people just treat history that way. How many properties do I own? Two rentals. I will tell you though that I'm very fair to my tenants. I'm not greedy or anything. And my tenants who were at my rental property, my first one, they were recently renewing their lease. And their lease is like in July 1st? No, July 2nd. I think that's when it was. And basically what I did was I didn't make them even sign a lease. So I trust them. I told them, it's fine. We don't need to sign a lease. And I basically just I started up a group chat with the husband and the wife, and I basically got them in a group chat, and I asked them, like, do you guys want to stay in the property for, like, another year? And they said, yeah. And I typed to them, I'm not raising rent. Rent is going to stay the exact same it's been for, like, a year. They said, thank you. And I said, just type in the group chat that you agree, and you agree to, pay rent for another year, and we'll just leave it off there. And that's it. And they typed they agree, and that's it. So I didn't raise it on them. Hello, Pro. It's been 2 years since I've subscribed to you, and I love your videos, man. Can't wait to share my experience with GTA 6 with you, bro. Thank you, Rashawn. I'm really excited for GTA 6 as well. Do you do background checks, credit checks on your attendants before they move in? Yes. But here's what I will tell you about my background checks. Zillow has a free background check system. It does. So Zillow will, like, when you list the property, Zillow will screen it for you. But if you're not going to use Zillow, what you can do is you can make sure that you always pay for the background check. So when you're screening people, if you're getting for rental, pay for their background and credit check. Pay for it. The reason you want to do that is because if you deny the person, you don't want them to get really angry at you. So that's basically it, because you're gonna have somebody that's gonna get all pissed off, and they're gonna, just, start yelling at you that they paid for the background check and then they got denied. If you pay for the background check, I feel like you have more discretion in, denying them. And so I had this family that came over. It was like the first family that actually came by to look at the property. And this first family that came by, I didn't do it through Zillow the first time, and I actually paid for their background check. I paid for their background check on, I paid for their background and their credit check. And about them, the family, the mom, it was like a mom and her daughter and the daughter's boyfriend. The mom looked like she was in her 60s, but she was actually apparently in her 40s, and she had like that really raspy, like, smoker breath. And the boyfriend, the daughter's boyfriend, there was just something off about him, like, because he was like really skinny. And when I say like really skinny, like, I was like 2 or 3 times his size. And literally, this guy's like around my age too. So like he's in his, well, I'm 30 right now, but he was like in his mid-20s. So, we're close around the same age. But he was like really skinny. And not only that, like, his eyes were just all over the place. Like, it was like I don't know if he was on drugs or something like that. Like, I just had a bad, like, gut feeling about him. And when I ended up doing the background check on them, I found out that the mother is like a single mother with 6 kids, and she didn't have like a criminal record, but she was like a cashier at like a Subway. And then like the boyfriend was apparently, like, the daughter's boyfriend was a mechanic. But when I looked at his record, he had no criminal record, but he had like thousands of dollars in debt. Like, I mean, like, the debt was just out of control. Like, the credit score was like really, really low. I think it was like 300 or 400. Like, it was like extremely low. And the craziest thing about this, when I checked his current address was a motel. It was literally a motel. So like, that's literally where he was staying at the moment. And then the daughter. The family also had 4 dogs too. So 4 dogs, a single mother with 6 kids. Daughter has a boyfriend who has massive amounts of debt, living currently in a motel. And there was also gonna be a bunch of kids living at the property, and then there was gonna be another girl, the sister of the daughter, but she didn't show up to view the property. And here's the thing about this. Despite all of this stuff, I was still willing to give them a chance. I know it looked bad, but I was still willing to, work with them and willing to give them a chance. But the reason, the thing that pushed me over, where I basically said no at that point, what it was the daughter did not want to do the background check. Like, I offered to pay for it, and she didn't want to do it. So literally, they didn't have criminal records, but they just had debt. But the daughter did not want to do the background check. And every single time I asked her to do the background check, I told her I was going to pay for it. She would just always say to me, "Oh, there's a problem with my social security number. When I put my social security number in, like, there's an error. Like, the background check doesn't work." Like, she would just say that every time. And then her sister, when I would text her to do the background check, she would always just say the exact same thing to me. She would say to me, "Oh, I can't do it right now. I'm going to work. Like, I'm really busy, so I can't do it right now." And it was like that for days. For days, it was like, "Oh, I'm not going to work. I'm busy right now, I can't do it." Meanwhile, like, I have other tenants looking at the property. And at that point, basically, I said, like, no. Like, at that point, I was like, no, I'm not gonna, deal with this. And the craziest thing about this is they started texting me like they were gonna move into the property. We hadn't even signed the lease, so 2 of them refused to do the background check, and they started texting me like, when can we move into the property? Like, when can we come here? When do we get the keys? Like, you didn't even sign a lease with me. You didn't even agree to anything. And at that, when they were texting me that, I was like, yeah, no, this is too many red flags. I was like, this is not good. And what I ended up doing is I told them I rented it to somebody else. Like, I just lied. I literally told them I just rented it to somebody else, and they stopped texting me. Like, they never bothered me again after that. But that was pretty much that. Pro, where is your India video? It is actually coming out next week. You remember that video, Bad Gamer? It's actually it's coming out next week. I actually recorded most of it already. Most of it is recorded. It's actually gonna be close to like 3 hours long. It is a very long video. But for people wondering what Bad Gamer is asking me about, next week I will be uploading a video on, like, just crime in India and, like, the police in India and, like, breaking down stuff. And basically, the whole purpose of that video is to basically show that, like, the scams that are happening in India are not the faults of Indians. These scams basically piss Indians off too, and they make their country look bad. What a lot of people don't know about the scammers, the tech support scammers that are in India. You know those people that, like, call up and, like, they call up and they do the gift card scams, all those stuff. What people don't know about those scammers is that the vast majority of those call center scams are only coming from a specific part of India. The vast majority of those scams are actually coming from West Bengal. That is literally in West Bengal and Kolkata specifically. Kolkata and West Bengal. Those are that's where the vast majority of those scams are coming from. And the reason that there's so many scams from West Bengal and Kolkata is because the government in West Bengal is corrupt. That's the primary reason. The police and the government are corrupt in that region. The other parts of India, you don't see as many of these scammers as, like, West Bengal. So that's what people don't know is people basically think that, like, India is like a country full of scammers, but that's not true. Is these scammers just make Indians look bad, they make their country look bad, and the vast majority of the scams are actually coming from West Bengal. They're coming from a specific region in India. They're not coming from all over India. Most of them are usually coming from West Bengal. Do you agree with what I'm saying, Bad Gamer, by the way? I'm assuming you're Indian. But yeah, I have a few Indian friends, and whenever I sent them, like, videos of, like, those scammers, like those gift card scammers, they usually tell me that they have a Kolkata accent. That's what they usually tell me. When are you getting your next property? Maybe sometime next year or the year after that. Oh, and I think I missed a super chat. Did I? Hello. Thank you, Rashawn. Hello, it's been 2 years since I subscribed to you, and I love your videos, man. Can't wait to share my experience with you. Thank you, Rashawn. Well, I have talked to two of my friends, though, Bad Gamer, and they have told me that that West Bengal, the government there, is corrupt. And the thing about that is I actually did a lot of research on West Bengal. I was looking into it, and the Director General of the police in West Bengal, the guy, he got recently replaced. It was like a couple months ago. He got recently replaced. The Director General of the police was involved in a cover-up where he covered up this massive scam. Like, there was this scam in 2013. It was like a stock market scam that happened in West Bengal. It was like a big, I forget, it's in my video. I did a bunch of research on it, but there was, like, basically, like, this big stock market scam, and these companies had, like, defrauded millions of people in West Bengal, like, just stolen from them. And it was like a big Ponzi scheme. And when we're talking investors, we're not just talking rich people. A lot of, like, poor Indian investors who, like, put their retirements got scammed by this stock market scam. And the Director General of the police, he wasn't Director General of the police at the time. He was just an investigator. He recently became Director General of the police. He helped cover that up. He was involved in the scam, and he actually recently got removed. So I forget the guy's name. I would have to look him up again. But I did a bunch of research and a lot of stuff on that. Here. Well, because like not a lot of people use those platforms. Basically. Yes, I've heard about that too. Bad Gamer. But yeah, have you heard of the credit card scam? Are you talking about that new New York parking ticket scam? Is that what you're talking about? Because there's like a new New York ticket parking scam that is happening right now. Is that what you're talking about? But yeah, what I'm basically getting at is the reason the scams are so out of control, like these tech support scams, the reason there's so many of these call centers in India, it's because the police in like places like West Bengal are doing nothing about it. They're literally not stopping these call centers. They're not arresting these. American government is also starting to become a little bit corrupt. Huge amounts of the American government are actually corrupt. So it's not that they're a bit corrupt. They're a huge parts of the American government are corrupt, but it's I would say it's mostly the federal government. Usually, state governments in America aren't as corrupt. It's like the federal government. It's like when I say the federal government are corrupt, I'm mostly talking like CIA, for example, like agencies like that. Like they've been involved in a lot of shady stuff, But basically, what I'm getting at with India, what I was saying is the reason the tech support scams are just so out of control is because the police in places like West Bengal do nothing about it. Like they don't care. Like literally, you can record a call center, like record a call center and show the police the location, and the police will do nothing. Like they won't even visit the place. Like they don't care at all. And so that's the primary reason why the scams are just sort of controlled, because the police are not stopping it. It's not, Indians are not more prone to scamming than anyone else. Anybody can be a scammer. The reason the scams are just sort of controlled there specifically is because the police aren't doing anything about it. That's why. If the American police didn't do anything to stop call center scams, we would have just as many call centers as India. So that's the main reason. It's the police and the government are not doing enough to stop it. Nigerian cybercrime police, for example. Yeah, exactly. Did anybody ever see that video of me calling up the Nigerian police? Like, remember the part when I literally had like 4 or 5 phone calls with them, and I got so pissed off that they just never called me back. Like, they promised to call me back, and it was like weeks, and they never did. They never got back to me. And then, like, when I got on the phone with the guy, he was trying to put me on hold again. And I literally said to him, like, you're not going to do anything. You guys don't care about stopping scams. Like, you guys don't care. Like, what are you doing? And he got so pissed at me. Like, that cop was just screaming at me on that phone. It's in my YouTube video when the cop was screaming at me. But it was like, I never had anybody talk to me like that in a long time. I haven't had anybody screaming at me like that in a long time. And so that was like, that cop was just used to basically sitting there. That cop sat there and did absolutely nothing. And he was just used to sitting there and doing nothing. And then when he gets called out by somebody, he gets all pissed off. So that was it. I was so disappointed in that police force. I really was. No, I'm talking about the credit card. What video was that? Look up Nigerian Cybercrimes Police. Just look up on my channel Nigerian Cybercrimes Police. It's a video. I posted like a month ago. I called the police in Nigeria and I tried to report scammers. And I had the scammer's location, I had the scammer's city, I had the scammer's IP address, I had the scammer's website, the scammer's Facebook, the scammer's WhatsApp. I even looked up the domain of like the website, and like the domain of the website, it was like coming back to some like weird hotel. And like I don't know if they made it there or like what it was about, but I had that information also too. And like I tried to give this to the Nigerian Cybercrimes Police, and they wouldn't take my information. Like I kept trying to give it to them. I tried to report this, and they weren't taking it seriously. Like they didn't care, and I was getting pissed off. And eventually, I just told them on the phone that you guys don't care about stopping scams. And the cop just started screaming at me and yelling at me. That, yes, Malarkey is right. That is called a credit card skimmer. Here's the thing is, do you know where you are the most likely to be a victim of a credit card skimmer? You know where? You're not actually at a cash register. A lot of people think that when you go to checkout and you put your credit card in like a machine, that's where you're the most likely to be a victim of a skimmer. No. The place where you're actually the most likely to be a victim of a skimmer is actually a gas station pump. Gas station pumps are actually really easy to open. You would actually be surprised. There's like simple keys, like keys that you can order online, can open like most gas pumps. And so what these scammers will do is they'll go to a gas pump like late at night, they'll open it when nobody's looking, and they'll just put that skimmer device inside, right where the credit card reader is. And then when somebody like, puts their credit card in the machine, their credit card information is going to get stolen. And my dad was actually a victim of a skimmer. He went to a Costco gas station because it was like really cheap, and he was buying gas, and then like a couple days later, his credit card was being used in Manhattan to buy like luxury suits. So somebody was like buying luxury suits with his credit card, and my dad canceled the credit card, so he didn't have to pay for it. But I asked my dad, I'm like, where have you been like shopping? Like where have you gone recently? Like did you use your card anywhere? And my dad was basically like, I pay cash mostly everywhere, but then I went to the gas station. I'm like, Dad, it's the gas station. And and my dad still kept going back to that gas station. Like I told him, like, don't go to that gas station anymore. But he's like, no, the gas is so cheap at Costco. But I'm like, literally, they stole your credit card information. Don't go back there. I'm like, if you're gonna pay it in cash. But thankfully, my dad didn't get scammed a second time. So that was it. It was Yes, gas stations are targeted a lot by scammers. I didn't know about that, that there's a scanner that can do that too. No, I've never seen that, Chase Kate.
Thank you kindly.
Do you think YouTube should get competition? Yes.
There's your piece of silver.
Yes, fentanyl has destroyed huge parts of America.
Why you vexing me, eh?
Let me go to my moonshine business. This is live. Moonshine Shack, let's do that. Well, both of them are great. I would say the best thing about the Lost and Damned is just, you know, your gang members, that like you can kind of use them as like muscle, and like the best part of like Ballad of Gay Tony, I would say, is like all of the vehicles and the crazy features, like the parachuting. Doesn't most of the fentanyl come from China? Yes and no. The chemicals, most of the chemicals are produced in China, but it's created into fentanyl in Mexico, most of it.
C'est parti. This one will punch hard. Good. Fine.
You heard the controversy Dr. Disrespect is in? Yes, I did, General's Alert. It's disgusting and it's horrible.
Bonjour. You've been away all some
Well, Gunner, the thing about the Chinese Civil War is that Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the nationalists, made a massive mistake. And the massive mistake he made is he made a coalition with the communists. That was his mistake. Because Chiang Kai-shek wanted to end the war, which, yes, you know, everybody wants to end the conflict, but he created a coalition with the communists. And a lot of advisors were telling him, don't create a coalition government with the communists because they're going to betray you. And then he got betrayed by Mao, and then he had to flee to Taiwan. And that's basically it. That's the biggest mistake the nationalists made during the Chinese Civil War, is that they made a coalition government with the communists. Why bother being a cop if you don't help people? Am I right, Pro? You're right, GG. Okay, oh, he's still... What the... Oh. I did watch the debate, but I didn't, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to stay away from politics. Why are you using that loadout? Oh, because I like using different guns. Guns that a lot of people don't typically use. So, like, I mess around with a lot of different guns. I think it's the hottest year in India. There's roads melting. You know, I'll actually tell you something really messed up. Something really messed up about that in India. There was actually a cop in India. It's a viral video that's going around where he was actually suffering heat stroke. And do you know what happened? The other cops, instead of getting him medical attention, they just took out their cell phones and were filming him as he fainted from heat stroke. And he died. I'm not lying about this. This actually happened. Look it up. That Indian cop dies after his coworkers filmed him. It's horrible. Well, what do you mean, war clips? Why did you say the Imperator Future Shock is the best variant in the Arena War? I honestly don't remember Boom Buster. That was like nearly 6 years ago when I did a review, like 5.5 years ago. So I have to go back and see what I said, but I saw that. Yeah, it's.
Watch yourself.
Oh, I don't know then, that gunner. How did not one person see that Hitler was a crazed maniac? I'm assuming you're referring to the Germans when you say that. There was Germans that realized that Hitler was a crazed maniac, but a lot of them still followed him to the end. It was either fear, or it was, you know, blind loyalty. There was people that were fanatical to Hitler till the very end. Wait, but what were you asking me before war clips? There's still mafia families in New York, yes. Yeah, that's why it's a pistol in Fallout, isn't it? It's the Chinese officer's pistol. Yes, Himmler was the second worst Nazi behind Hitler, yes. Well, I can add you possibly on PlayStation also, Bad Gamer. You just have to tell me your PSN. Oh, this is the trader horse. This is the horse that's available for the trader. I forget the name of it, but it's the it's the horse that was available with the trader. That you have to buy it from the catalog, but it's the trader horse. How disturbing was the ending in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas? The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is one of the best World War II movies that I've seen, but it has also one of the most disturbing and horrific endings in a movie I've ever seen. Bro, Russia is going to invade America in the future? There is no chance of that. Russia does not have the resources to invade America. I don't like how the assault rifle looks in Fallout 4. I agree with you. I wish we would have had the Chinese assault rifle in Fallout 4. That was my favorite assault rifle. We did get that AK gun in Nuka World, though. What do you think is the stupidest thing Mao has done during his time as leader of the Communist Chinese Party? I would say the Great Leap Forward, the stupidest thing he's done. Yeah, probably Great Leap Forward. Hey, I've been getting into Red Dead Online, but a few bugs stop me from getting more invested. Do you have any solutions to these? Horse doesn't spawn when whistling. Collectibles don't spawn. Horse doesn't spawn when whistling, and collectibles don't spawn. Let me read that one more time. Horse doesn't spawn when whistling. I think you have to go to the stable to fix that. Collectibles don't spawn. Do you go to the location where they are? Because there's an interactive collectible map that you can watch, the Jean Rupke map. What do you think of another god-awfully ugly weapon in the video game, the combat rifle in Fallout 4? Yeah, it looks pretty bad too. The worst movie that I've ever seen, hang on a second, I'll tell you the name of the movie. Okay, yeah, yeah, I would say the worst movie I think I've ever seen is this Jim Carrey movie called The Number 23. I think that's the worst movie I've ever seen. Oh, I haven't seen his video, Frankie. Well, Fallout 76 actually has some nicer guns than Fallout 4. What did you hate about it? The movie just, it went around in circles, it didn't make any sense, and it was also that, the other thing that also I didn't like about it, it was just that, like, there's this crazy guy who's, like, he writes, like, a bunch of numbers and stuff like that, and he has, like, some mental issues. He goes to, like, a mental asylum, and then, like, somebody from his past is, like, coming to try to kill him, and he's, like, paranoid about it, and it's, like, it's hard to explain, but Number 23 is a pretty bad movie. Bro, I heard that rich New Yorkers, throw away and don't eat expensive steaks, and your mom used to bring them for you. Is this true or wrong? It's true. I will tell you something. Is I have literally had like the most expensive, like, you know, rich people's food, like, you know, all these 5-star steaks and stuff like that. I don't go and buy this stuff, by the way. The reason I had this food is because my mom works in corporate offices as a cleaner. So my mom cleans the offices of like millionaires, so like these multi-millionaire CEOs. My mom cleans the offices of like one of this guy who's like a president of like a massive company in New York City. And so my mom cleans like the CEO's offices, and what these CEOs do is they order so much expensive food and they don't eat it. So it's like it's unopened food that they haven't like eaten, and then they order it to be thrown out. And so what my mom does is she just brings home all this expensive food. And she's supposed to throw it out, but she just packs it up and takes it home. She could get fired for that, but the food's gonna get thrown out anyways. So she literally packs up all this expensive food, and I've had like 5-star sushi, you know, 5-star steak, like, you know, all this expensive food. And I'll tell you something about this. The steak, the really 5-star expensive steak is like no different than like a steak that you eat at a supermarket. So like I honestly, I'm eating this stuff and I'm thinking to myself, like, rich people eat this stuff? Like, what's so good about this? Like it's no different than like the supermarket steak. I don't know. I'm not a chef, but to me it didn't seem like any different. So there was just there's nothing special about it. The CEOs don't clean their offices. That's true. You know, you would think that these CEOs would, like, they leave such a mess on their desks. It's ridiculous. It's like children. Has there been a playthrough on your channel that you didn't enjoy? Yes. I think people know what game I didn't enjoy playing. What game do you got? What playthrough did I do that I didn't enjoy? Does anybody know here? I think people are gonna know about that one. Modern Warfare 3, I didn't hate Modern Warfare 3 that much, because Modern Warfare 3 pissed me off with some of the missions, but it was still okay. The playthrough that I really didn't enjoy doing is the Saints Row reboot. Saints Row reboot I didn't enjoy. I tortured myself for playing Saints Row reboot, but... But I will tell you guys the craziest story that the craziest thing that my mom brought home. Do you know what my mom brought home from work one day? Like the food that wasn't like thrown out? You guys are not gonna believe this when I tell you the food that was gonna get thrown out. My mom brought home literally like 11 pizza boxes, like large pizza with toppings, all unopened, all for free. So like 11 large boxes of pizza with toppings that was completely sealed, all free. And you're probably wondering, how did she bring home 11 large boxes of pizza that's free? The reason, the CEOs were gonna have a meeting, and for that meeting they ordered a bunch of pizzas, but the meeting got canceled, and so the food still got delivered. The CEOs ordered the food to get thrown out. So imagine that. Imagine that you have people who are starving in other countries, don't have enough food to eat, and then these scumbag, these rich CEOs order so much food and they just waste it like that. Like, just imagine that. And here's the crazy thing about this. It wasn't even 11 pizza boxes in total, because there was other workers, other cleaners that also took home their some pizza boxes too. So I don't know how many pizza boxes it was in total, but it was way more than 11 too. So my mom brought home 11 large boxes of pizza, and for like a month straight, I ate nothing but pizza. Like, it was probably unhealthy for me, but I like pizza. So literally, I ate pizza for like breakfast, dinner, and supper for like a month straight because of just all the pizza that my mom brought home. But that was yeah, that's what I'll say about these rich people. They waste so much food. The rich people. That's what I'll say about them. Ugh, yeah. What pizza? I don't even remember. It wasn't like a name brand. It wasn't like, you know, Domino's or Pizza Hut. It was like some local place, but it was good. Okay. How is this guy not dead? You guys see this right now? What do you mean reward? Did I see that Rockstar parody The Rock? No, what did they do specifically? Yeah, my parents didn't have much growing up, so the idea that someone would order food, not eat it, and just throw it out is insane to me. Massive waste of good food. The thing about, you know what I'll tell you guys, my parents, when I was a kid growing up, my parents would get really mad at me if I wasted food. If I wasted food, if I didn't finish food, my parents would get pissed at me. My parents grew up in a communist country, and they basically had, you know, barely any food. You know, they struggled to get by. And so, my parents to this day are still, like, still fascinated that, like, when they go into a supermarket in America, that they can, like, you know, find food, like, you know, morning, afternoon, and night. Like, doesn't matter what time you come in, you'll find food. But I remember what my father always said to me. He said to me, like, enjoy the food that you have now because you don't know if you're not going to have food in the future. That's what my father said. No, my father wasn't, like, threatening me or anything. What he basically was saying is he was saying that there might be, like, an economic crisis and there might be, like, no food in stores. That's basically what my father was saying, just like in Poland. So that's what my father always said to me. He's like, make sure always enjoy the food because you never know, like, you take this stuff for granted and you never know when you might not have food. That's what my father always said to me, so... Are you still active in the gym? I went to the gym like 4 days ago. I should have gone yesterday, but I was slacking off. Today, I don't think I'll have time to go, but tomorrow I'll go. Did I see the comment? What comment, Phoenix? Oh, from Ant, I'm sorry. I'm trying to see if I can put my money in a CD like you said. Hopefully it'll be worth it. Much love. I'm sorry I didn't see your super chat earlier, Ant. Yeah, I mean, CDs are good ways to make some money back, but remember though that a CD you cannot touch that money. So when you loan that money to the bank and then you can't touch that for that period of time. But after like 6 months or a year, the bank will pay you back interest. I wonder what those kids who are communists think when they hear stories from people from Poland. Oh, they're in denial. In Vietnam, the flag of South Vietnam is treated like the flag of Nazi Germany. And if you have that flag, you're going to get in trouble for that. Personally, I don't like that. I don't like flag because it's uninspired. You don't like the flag, but wait, you don't like flag because it's uninspired. Wait, what do you mean by the last point? Do you know what the most offensive thing you can say to somebody who grew up in a communist country? The most offensive thing that you can say to them is what you went through wasn't real communism. That's basically what you can say. That is literally the most offensive thing that people say. And that's my dad would absolutely lose it. Like if you said that to him, that like what you experienced wasn't real communism, my dad would lose it. So like that's Oh, okay, Gunner. What do you think about how Saddam Hussein ran Iraq? Thank you, Walst Money. Thank you for the super chat. What I will say about Saddam is that Saddam was a bad person. He was a bad guy. He committed, atrocities against his own people. But when the U.S. just took him out, just like that, and it basically created a giant power vacuum. And now, like, Iran... Here's the thing about Saddam Hussein, what a lot of people don't know about him. Saddam Hussein really hated the government of Iran. Like, really, really, really badly. Like, he hated the government of Iran more than any other government. More than the U.S., more than any other government. He hated the Iran government. And once Saddam was actually taken out, what happened is Iran is now interfering constantly in Iraq. So it's constantly interfering in Iraq's affairs. Iran is like funding militias that destabilize Iraq. And so basically, by the point that I'm getting at is that by the U.S. taking out Saddam, is they have basically caused Iraq to become a puppet of Iran. So I'm not defending Saddam Hussein or anything like that, but I'm just saying is that that by taking him out and just doing the things they did, they destabilized Iraq, and now you have Iraq what it's like today. I do have a playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima, but I'll be doing it again, another playthrough of it one day. Bro, you are cringe. How am I cringe? You missed my comment? I'm sorry, Hustler. Thank you, Walst Money. Oh, I'm not gonna talk about that, Zach, because I don't talk politics. What? Wait, what, GG? What are you asking me? How much death was in the Reign of Terror? You're talking about Robespierre's Reign of Terror in France? I think it was like 20,000 something people that were executed during the Reign of Terror. There was a lot of innocent people that got executed during the Reign of Terror. A lot of priests got executed. If you had like even nice clothes, you could be accused of being a member of the aristocracy and you could get executed for that. There was also people who were plotting against the government who got executed. What do you think is the main flaw of communism? Why are people gullible enough to think that it works? I think the main reason that people are so gullible with communism is because people are relying on other people's good nature for a successful society. That's what I think is the biggest flaw of communism. Because the thing about this is that communists, the way that communists look at a lot of things is communists think that people do everything out of the goodness of their hearts. That's basically what communists think. And, you know, there definitely are people that do things out of the kindness of their hearts, but that's not the vast majority of the public. It's not the vast majority of the people. You know, people are going to do something. People are going to do something, some kind of accomplishment. They're going to build something if they get rewarded for it. So that's basically what is communism destroys innovation. Because, think about it. If I make some like really good, if I make like a phone that's just as good as the iPhone, right? But my phone is way more affordable, like half the price. If I make something like that, you know, I'm gonna become a millionaire, you know, possibly even a billionaire if I made a phone better than the iPhone. And now think about it in a communist country. If you made like a phone that was like really, really good, what are you gonna get for it? You're just gonna get like a medal, like maybe Order of Lenin, which was like a, you know, a big like a medal in the Soviet Union, or the hero of the Soviet Union. That's what you get, a medal. That's it. Literally nothing else. And so, you know, think about it. Like why is there any innovation? What's the point of even making things, making new gadgets, making new technology, you know, advancing stuff, because you don't get rewarded for it? So like, what's the point, really? There's really no point to innovation. It's like people do stuff because they want to get rewarded. They want to make money, and so that's communists say that capitalists killed 2.5 billion people. Here's what I will say about this. Communism does very much violate the Constitution in America. Did I improve my sleep schedule? No, it's just kind of bad now again. Let me, about that. There's a big difference between communism and capitalism other than the economic system. The difference between them is that communism is an economic system, but also a political ideology. where capitalism is just an economic system. It's not a political ideology. There are some people that might take like an extreme view of capitalism and turn it into a political ideology, like you have those social Darwinists like during the Industrial Revolution. But for the most part today, you know, capitalism is not a political ideology. It is literally just an economic system. So you have people from like, you know, all different types of politics, left and right, but yet they still all believe in a capitalist system. So capitalism ultimately is just, you know, an economic system. It's not a, you know, political ideology like communism is. That's the main difference. And so under a capitalist system, you could have a democracy, you could have a republic, you could have a monarchy, you could have a dictatorship. But under communism is you are always going to have a dictatorship. It will always be a dictatorship no matter what. So that's really the main difference. Oh, let me see here. Is there a fast travel point anywhere here? Oh, I haven't done the hunting in this game in a long time. Oh, Chetis Swao. I keep reading his name wrong, but who's worse, Lenin or Robespierre? Lenin is much worse than Robespierre. Yeah. Well, Lenin killed millions of people. Like Robespierre killed thousands of people. So it's not comparable. But about Cheshire, what you're asking me about him, that guy was probably the most corrupt communist leader in Europe. He built like a giant palace. Like the palace that he built was like, have you seen Cheshire palace? It was like, it's ridiculous. Cheshire basically got executed for his corruption. So he got killed. There was a revolution in Romania, and people got rid of him. Favorite Call of Duty campaign, Black Ops 1. I hate the real communist argument, pro. Nothing is ever real communism to the tankies. What is real communism then, tankies? Well, what's a tanky? Literally, I'll tell you something. Do you know what I always do whenever I hear people say like, oh, we don't have real communism. That's not real communism. You know what I usually tell those people to piss them off? I tell them what we have isn't real capitalism. That's usually what I say to them, and they get really pissed when I say that. Because if they can say that we never had true communism, I can say we didn't have true capitalism either. I can really say that, and they get really pissed when you say that. Oh, he hasn't even produced it fully yet. Okay. 13 out of 20. Do you think the Wounded Knee Massacre was the worst atrocity the U.S. had carried out during the Indian Wars? It's definitely one of the worst. It's definitely one of the worst massacres that the U.S. did in the United States, yes. And, yeah, Cheshaw's wife had, like, so many different expensive pairs of shoes. But about the Wounded Knee Massacre, that's, the Wounded Knee Massacre is also why you should never trust the government with all the guns. Because what basically happened during the Wounded Knee Massacre is the U.S. Army was disarming a Native American tribe. I forget what tribe it was. Was it the Sioux? I would have to look up what tribe was involved in it. I could look it up really quick here. Tribe was it? It was the Lakotas. That's the tribe that it was. But anyways, about the Lakotas, the U.S. Army was disarming them, and the Lakotas were basically ordered to surrender all of their weapons. And so they were basically just going in the camp and just throwing all their guns on just like this big pile that was like right in the middle of the camp. And then basically what ends up happening at that point is there's two different versions of the story. The first version is that there was one of the Native Americans that he was deaf, and he couldn't hear the U.S. Army soldier telling him to disarm, and he didn't want to disarm. And then somebody fired a shot, and it turned into a massacre. The second version is that one of the Native Americans didn't want to give up his gun, and it just turned into a massacre. The soldiers started shooting, and the Native Americans tried to grab the guns that were on the pile, but it was too late. The soldiers were shooting at them, and the thing is, the soldiers kept shooting and shooting and shooting. They didn't stop. Like, the soldiers killed, like, every single man, woman, and child. Like, all the women that were running, the kids that were running. The soldiers just kept shooting and shooting and shooting. And that is probably, like, the Wounded Knee Massacre is probably the worst massacre committed, that the U.S. has committed on its own soil. So that's what I'll say about that. And let me just see, how many people died in the Wounded Knee Massacre? It was, 90 died in the massacre, too. So there was 120 Lakota, and out of the 120 Lakota, it was 90 died. Oh, 90 warriors died, but 200 civilians died. So 90 Lakota warriors died, and 200 Lakota civilians were murdered. That was yeah, that is probably the worst massacre the U.S. has committed on its own soil. Malaysia Airlines flight to disappear. You're talking about MH flight 370. That's the one you're talking about. Do you think that the Filipino dictator Ferdinand Marcos survived the Bataan Death March? He wrote that in his autobiography. No. I don't think he did, because if he went through something like that, the chances of him actually doing what he did as dictator, you know, you have to remember that Marcos was a scumbag. You know, he lied about a lot of stuff, and Marcos's wife was also had, you know, stolen millions of dollars of taxpayers' money. So Marcos could have been lying about that. I don't know 100%. I don't know. What I'm saying is he could have been lying about him being in the Bataan Death March. I think the flight is somewhere underwater. That's what I think. Rent is expensive in New York City. I always wondered what happened in that plane. That story was just so weird with that plane. What do you think happened to DB Cooper? I think he got away. I remember when you did a playthrough of Dead Rising really early on when you were trying to do some different content. That was your best playthrough. Oh, really? You think that one was my best one? Well, thank you. That was one of my earliest ones. And I'm gonna play the remaster. So the remaster is, let me just see. When is Dead Rising remaster coming out? 2024 release. So it's coming out this year. So it's gonna come out within 5 months. It's probably gonna come out near the holidays. Probably when it's gonna come out.
What in the hell is wrong with you?
Why do I prefer Call of Duty campaigns over multiplayer? Because the campaign isn't toxic like the multiplayer. Oh, and Gunner, since you like history, you should watch my latest part of Call of Duty World War II also. I heard that rich people left before getting on the Titanic knowing it was going to sink with other rich bankers. I don't know how true that is, but the people that were in charge of Titanic were incompetent. What are your thoughts on North Yankton survival coming to GTA? Also, who do you think would win in a fight between Rambo and the Equalizer versus the Vanderlyn gang? I think the Vanderlyn gang would lose that fight pretty quickly because Rambo and the Equalizer would be familiar with modern technology when they wouldn't. Thank you, Harry. Who would win in a fight, Rambo or the Equalizer? It's a really good question. I honestly don't know. That's a really good one. Might end in a tie because this is how deadly both of them are. Which carbine would I prefer? The M1 carbine or M1A1? M1. Didn't the captain go down with the ship in the Titanic? Get your gat, Tom. He made it serious. Wait, what are you talking about?
You know, you look like a plain fool.
Bro, I have 3 questions to ask you, and then I might go early or hang around. I will watch the stream next time fully. What's your 3 questions? Saints Row 2 is the perfect atmosphere. We're gonna do a nice, fun charity stream on Sunday. Sunday we'll have a fun charity stream. I think you guys will love it. Bro, why is there so much income inequality in New York City? Because all the really rich people like living in New York City, and also because the standards of living are so high in New York City. So if you're like a working class person in New York City, it's a lot harder for you to make money and earn a living. And so because of that, the rich people, they can afford to stay rich. And so that's why it's hard for, you know, working class people to become rich, and easy for rich people to stay rich in New York City. So that's primarily why I mean, Rambo and the Equalizer on a team. But what are your thoughts on North Yankton survival coming? I think North Yankton should be available as a location, not just a survival, like a heist. Well, the M1 Garand can be reloaded without, you know, injuring your thumb, but you would have to hold the bolt back. However, though, on the stripper clip on an M1 Garand, if you actually press the bullet, the right side bullet, the bullet that's a little bit sticking out, if you hold down that bullet while you're putting it in the clip into the gun, the bolt should not slam forward when you do that. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the bullets you press down, and the bolt is not going to slam forward. But I fired an M1 Garand before, and for the M1 Garand, I never, like, I've always had one of my hands on the bolt and the other one on the clip, because I was just scared of just the bolt slamming forward and slamming into my fingers. Hey, what are you talking about, Carlos? What would happen if Trotsky took over instead of Stalin? It would still have been bad, but wouldn't have been as bad as if Stalin was in power. Why are you doing the cosplay for no reason? Well, I like doing it. It's fun. Are you a sellout? No. When will I make the lore on Don Salieri? When I'm gonna replay the Mafia series, I'll eventually go back to that and record that. Well, first I could add you on Xbox or Saints Row 2. Maybe join the co-op with Zach you mentioned. Do you think GTA Definitive Edition is worth it? And do you think Alex Mason is alive? I think Alex Mason is dead. I think the developers confirmed it. And the GTA Definitive Edition. Vice City and GTA 3 are worth it, I would say. Well, especially when they're on sale. San Andreas, I don't know. The Definitive Editions aren't as bad as they were in the past. I don't know if there's going to be a remaster of GTA 4. It's a good question. Oh, sorry. Sick cowboy hat. Thank you, Sir William. I do want to play the old Wolfenstein games one day, too. Yep. The most intelligent and evil character in the game, Makarov. I want to play through both of the Left 4 Dead games one day, Preston. Have you heard of Hearts of Iron 4, the strategy game? I know it, but I haven't played it. Maybe he couldn't find them something, Analyze. I'm sorry. I was reading it too quickly. Thank you, Sir William. Sick cowboy. Sure. Thank you, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. I was reading too quickly. I'm sorry. I don't know how I read that as hat. I apologize.
Get these damn ropes off.
Sick shirt and hat. Thank you. This shirt is also all real. This shirt is not fake or anything. This is all real. This shirt, too. I bought this actually from a Western store here in my town. Okay, when we get to 13 minutes, I guess to deliver the target then. Yes, New York is a very big city. Well, the FG-42 is actually a sniper rifle in Hell Let Loose. I don't know if you know that. What do you think of Alex Jones? I think he's insane. He says some things that people can relate to, but then he talks a lot of nonsense. Have you heard of the Malmedy massacre, where the Waffen SS massacred dozens of captured American soldiers? That happened during the Battle of the Bulge. Yes, I know what you're talking about. And the people that were responsible for that, I don't think they were even punished fully after the war. What are you talking about, Carlos? He did, Mr. Gibbs. Oh no, I hate Andrew Tate. I don't know why you think I like him. No, it's you know, that guy just talks a lot of crap and a lot of like, you know, a lot of nonsense. And also, that guy's being investigated right now for like sex trafficking. You know, he's a creep. Uh, I just deliver the target then. What game do you think is the worst? The Last of Us 2 or the new Saints Row? The new Saints Row, I'd say, is even worse, yeah. I think Vince McMahon, I think it was like sexual harassment that Vince McMahon got charged with. Am I gonna play any Vietnam War games? I'll play the original Black Ops games too. I want to get to that before. I want to get to the original Black Ops games before the new one comes out, before Black Ops 6. What's really disturbing about the Malmedy massacre was that when they found the bodies, some of the frozen bodies had their hands up. Yeah, that was the SS who had done that, and I think that the people that were I think that the people that were responsible for that, I think they never were punished. I don't think they were. Are you aware of the average age of the Vietnam War soldier? What, 18? 19? Best Call of Duty campaign villain? I think Makarov. I think Makarov is probably the best villain in the series. Yeah, Makarov, I would say. I might play Mass Effect one day. Are you familiar with the Battle of Hurtgen Forest, though, Gunner? The best food I ever ate in my life? My favorite food has always been sushi. Second best, probably been Menendez. Can you deliver the target, please?
Looky here. Dog brought
Can you do a
me
ranking
luck.
video of every vehicle in every update in GTA Online? Oh my god. Do you know how long that video would be? That video would be like 20 hours long if I did a ranking video on every single vehicle that was released because of an update. Oh my god. And that would be too complicated to do too. I'd literally have to like a list of like 100 vehicles and like test out that. That would just be ridiculous. I probably would not want to do that though, Sean. Uh Do you think that the Battle of Hurtgen Forest was necessary? Because like a lot of Hurtgen Forest is a very controversial battle because like a lot of people they argue over whether the U.S. had to go through the Hurtgen. Like a lot of people say they didn't have to go through the Hurtgen; they could have just gone around it. Uh, Vince was a weirdo. He would put himself in storylines with divas, and they would have to kiss him on camera because they didn't want to lose their job. Yeah, yeah, and the thing is though, it's all making sense now. But like, I was generally surprised that he was involved in that crap. Like, but like, I guess you never truly know people. That was about Vince McMahon.
Partner? From the east or something.
It's still possible to get Arena Wars Taxi. Yeah, you can still get it. I try to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. That's what I try to do. I'm here, Phoenix. What's up? Playing against one guy? Oh. The funniest Ace Attorney meme. I don't know. I have to think about that one. Oh, crap. These suck. These cars are terrible. Oh, okay, Sean. I'll play Black Ops 2 one day, yes. Okay, well, thank you. He probably had better cards than me, but I still got 20 cents from that. If I could release a 3D universe game with Rockstar Games, what map would it be on, and what is the main character and storyline? What do you mean? I'm a little bit confused. You mean 3D universe game? What are you talking about? Like a previous map that we've had? 9 and 5. Damn, nothing. Let's see if he falls for the bluff. Oh, he's calling.
I'm all tangle-footed.
I hope he folds here. No, he's not. Okay. There we go. Nice. Okay, got that. What's the YouTuber's name? War Clips? Oh, Furio Tigre. Oh yeah, that is probably the funniest. That's probably the funniest moment in an Ace Attorney game is like when you expose like Tigre, because remember when you basically you tell him like the medicine, you basically tell him like this is what the poison case looked like, and then he says no, the poison case didn't look like that. It looked like this, and that's basically how you caught him. That's what was so ironic about the case is that you tricked him because there was nothing but this fake evidence, just disguised with so much deceit and used deceit to trick him. I remember what's his name, the Godot. Godot's reaction. Godot was really was like, do you realize what you've just done when he said that? Oh wow, look at what I have here. Wow, okay.
You must make a lot of ladies very happy. This place.
Oh my god, I'm going to win this hand so badly. Yep.
I ain't drunk, alright?
You know I don't charge for talking, right?
I'd like to see an open world of Carcer City. Yes. There we go. Look at that. Randy Orton, the wrestler. Yeah, I know him. I don't know him personally, but my favorite Polish dish, probably placki, which are like Polish pancakes, which can be filled with like anything: potatoes, jelly, cheese. Okay, these cards are like okay. Still try here. I don't know. I never added blackjack to Reddit Online. That I don't know. Oh, something but face cards.
It's been a struggle, not gonna lie.
I did get kicked out of the casinos in Fallout New Vegas, yes. Oh, it's nothing but face cards. I mean, look at this. I have a king, high, straight. I'll try this.
You look good enough to eat.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I think these guys are getting pissed. Okay, I'm gonna leave this game right now because I've won really good. Thoughts on the military and The Walking Dead refusing their orders to blow up Philadelphia on a Cobalt. I don't remember that scene. I haven't watched The Walking Dead in like a long time though.
Any quick folks before I eat all these chops myself?
What could bring an end to Iran's dictatorship? Education. People, people look up information on their own and start questioning their government. No, I'd never seen that movie, Gunner. You tried, wait, what did you try, GG? Randy Orton, I did, Thank you, Zach, for subscribing. Yeah, because The Walking Dead pissed me off back then. I know the films, but I never really watched the Hannibal films, no. Well, I'm not gonna speak on the, I'm not gonna speak on the politics, Bad Gamer. No, it didn't piss me off or anything, I just never watched them. I know the movies, but... Oh, and you mean about Walking Dead? Did it piss me off? Yeah, I stopped watching it because I just didn't like the direction that it was going in. Especially like when Rick left the show, I just didn't like that direction. In the Saints Row reboot, who's the worst character in the group? Probably Kevin. Okay, I'll see you, GG. Yes, I've actually seen Collateral. That one I've seen. That movie had pretty realistic gunshot sounds, too. Do you know what my favorite scene in Collateral was? My favorite scene in that movie was when Jamie Foxx is, like, when he's tied, when he has his hands handcuffed to the wheel. He can't move, he can't get out of the taxi, and then he asks that guy, hey, can you help me? And the guy just pulls out a gun and just robs him, and just takes his briefcase, and then, you know, the hitman, Tom Cruise, he confronts the robbers in the alley, and he's like, hey, homie, that's my briefcase. he says that to them, and then and then he just basically just destroys both of them, just kills both of them so quickly. That was my, my favorite scene in that movie, that alleyway scene. You like No Country for Old Men? It was an okay movie. I saw it a long time ago, though. But I will tell you, my favorite one was Fargo. Fargo I liked. Yeah, Conor McGregor is the new target. In the Hitman DLC. You know the Schindler's List? The little girl in the red dress, she's inspired from the Breaking Bad's pink teddy bear. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I would argue that Russia is also a dictatorship, Bad Gamer, though. Yeah, that's not appropriate, dude. That's not okay. And, just because you super chat doesn't mean that I'm going to read it, if it's something bad, and just, doesn't mean that it's okay to type it. Doesn't mean you can't get in trouble. But, I mean, like, how can you say something like that, dude? Like, you know, a guy who had, you know, destroyed my parents' country and, like, started, like, the worst world war in history and killed millions of people. Like, I mean, come on, dude. Seriously? Would you rather work with Wolf from Payday 2 or Lynch from Kane and Lynch? Wolf, probably. Russia ain't a dictatorship, it has elections. Yeah, sure. Russia is not a dictatorship, it has elections. Like, do you really think that anybody can win that election besides Putin? Like, literally, there's no, like, Russia is very much a dictatorship. The only difference between Russia and Belarus when it comes to dictatorships is that Belarus does not hide that they're a dictatorship. They admit they're a dictatorship. Russia pretends they're a democracy, but they're not.
Damn it, all to hell.
As a Russian, our country's elections are rigged. Oh, you live in Russia, CT 2005? I didn't know that. No, I read as many comments as I can, Sir William. I've just, yeah. I just wanted to get rid of that comment there quickly because it was extremely offensive. When is Metal Gear Solid playthrough coming? When I finish some of these other playthroughs. Oh, you live in America, but your family's from Russia. Okay. Okay, Sir William. Well, that's what's, you know, that's what ultimately is weird about Lukashenko. That's the weirdest thing about him. Because Lukashenko, I think, is the only dictator in the world that admits that he's a dictator. He's the only dictator that has admitted that he's a dictator. Like, the thing is, most dictators in the world, if you ask them, are you a dictator, they will say no. They're not, even though they clearly are. Like, if you ask Putin, are you a dictator, Putin will basically say, no, I'm the, you know, legitimately elected leader of Russia. The people chose me to lead. That is basically what he will say. Lukashenko, on the other hand, admits that he's a dictator. If you ask him, are you a dictator? He's like, yeah, I'm a dictator. I don't like democracy. That's what Lukashenko will say. So Lukashenko is very different. Even Kim Jong-un doesn't admit that he's a dictator, even though he clearly is. Kim Jong-un claims that he's the general secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea. That's what he claims. So he's not, he doesn't claim that he's a dictator either. I'm not sure, Zach. My favorite death cutscene in the Saints Row series? Probably Shogo's death. Professional, thank you for being so consistent with your content. All the videos, polls, and posts are all great engagement. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray, for that. Well, they're not gonna backstab you, Gunner. That's the thing. Yeah, North Korea's full title is Democratic People's Republic of Korea. That's true. Yep. Thank you for inviting me. No problem. What? I'm doing Reddit Online. I do it every Friday. Have fun with it. Here's Zombie Fanatic. I like a challenge, but I don't want things getting too ridiculous. Like, I want a challenge, but I don't want it to be, like, so ridiculous to a point, like, where you can't, yeah, where it's just annoying. Although the views are not high, I enjoy Patrick's content every time. Thank you, Kat. That's, I'm actually gonna have a video talking about that specific subject also tomorrow with the greedy YouTubers. It's like, my views, I'm happy with the views that I get. So, like, I don't go crazy with that. But, like, there's other YouTubers that just, they go absolutely crazy with that, and they're extremely greedy. I don't remember that much about Bane. I just remember he's the guy with the long, hair. Okay, guys. So, I guess I will be going here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. Check out my Call of Duty World War II video that I uploaded like 2 hours ago. And, I will have a, I'll have a video tomorrow talking about the greedy YouTubers, which I hope that you guys like. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.